So I'm sharing my screen here. Here's a picture of Chef John and our family. He has been in the industry ever since high school and has a lot of experience to share. So we're going to click through some slides just so he can share his career story, and then I will be asking him some questions in an interview style as we go. So it'll be a little bit different. It's not your typical, or not typical, so it's not going to be a typical workshop.
Anything but typical.
Anything but typical. You're welcome to put questions in the chat box, and we will strive to answer them at the end. Okay, so Chef John, can you describe a little bit about your upbringing and, tell us about yourself, really briefly.
Okay, I moved to Salt Lake in 1974 when I was 1 year old. We grew up in the buildings in Salt Lake. Majority of the buildings were Section 8. Our building was Section 8. We were right there in the thick of things down there at Westlake Apartments. I went to Salt Lake Elementary School, Moanalua Middle, and also Moanalua High School, where I graduated with most of the kids I went to kindergarten with. It was awesome.
Great. Why is there a Palama settlement back on there?
Palama settlement, we played football there for 5 years, from when I was 7 to when I was 12, and I got hurt, so I couldn't play anymore. But it's an outreach program for at-risk youth or the welfare demographic.
So low income, lowest, yes.
Yeah, it's a great program, and I believe they're still jamming. It's 3 days of practice of whatever sport. There was football and basketball, which I played both. Also, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, there was Learning Center where you did your homework and caught up on grades. And every night, Monday through Friday, they offered us a hot, balanced dinner.
Nice. Wow.
It was great, and I still have friends that I met at Palama Settlement.
Who is in this picture here on the left?
On the left, that's my mom in the middle. That's me in the yellow shorts. And my brother looks like he's practicing his shaka.
Nice.
Look, we're wearing matching shorts, except mine has a red stripe and his has a yellow.
That's really cute.
Red. Yeah.
That's cute. Okay, so let's move on. So you live with your mom through 6th grade, correct?
Through 6th grade in Salt Lake, yes.
Okay. All right. So now high school. Tell us about your experience during high school. What was that like?
Well, high school, I wasn't around. I wasn't active. I didn't have the groundwork laid in order to intelligently navigate high school. So, like many people, I'm sure I'm not alone. I did what I had to do. I did what I thought I could do. You can say maybe getting away with something or something like that, but I wasn't around at school. I didn't participate. I was absent most of the time. I was a competitive body surfer back then, and I would go to the beach. I played basketball at the district park throughout my high school years. There wasn't much family guidance or time at all. So I navigated those years blindly.
Blindly, yeah, that's a good way of saying it. So now high school. So usually this is where folks start planning for college, or they develop their interests. Kind of where were you at this point?
There was no talk about college at all, really. It didn't even cross any conversation. I didn't have many conversations at home while I was living with my dad. A lot of the things that happen that kids, as they hit puberty and as they move forward and as they become a teenager, they have family, they have parental units that help them navigate that. And I didn't. And
what was going on with your mom? Because you were now living with your dad.
So she had went on a trip to Europe when I was in the 6th grade, which that made us move in with my dad. And she had a mental illness, and she had those struggles she was back with my grandma in Kapi'olani, and I was just living with my dad. There was no real choice in it.
And your brother?
My brother too, yeah. So he was with me. If we're talking about my high school years, so my brother is 2 years older than me. So he's a 98 graduate.
I'm supposed to tell them how old we are.
Oh, I'm sorry, 89. 89 graduate.
All right.
But he lived there. He lived at the house too, and he was doing his own thing also. It was kind of every man for himself. My high school years.
Okay, so you weren't in a traditional high school program. What was the name of your program that you were in?
Well, it was a program called Pre-Industrial Preparation, or PIP, and what we did was, like it says, industrial. We worked with wood. We did labor. We did things for the school, and our classes were all technical classes, and we did what we were told. And the crazy part was that it was me and 9 of my friends. So our whole friend group, which was also the basketball team at the district park, was in this pre-industrial. No one outside of our friend group. So I don't know if they made it specially for us.
You could say that could be one way of looking at it. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
okay, I'm not going to get into a discussion about Hawaii DOE during those years, but I do want to, and Moanalua High School, but I do want to acknowledge something. So you had less than a 1.0.
Mm-hmm. I had a 0.3.
Okay, and tell me about, how did you get to graduate then?
Well, there was a time, roughly a month before graduation, where I was pulled into the principal's office where I had my own area. Actually, vice principal, right? But they told me I wasn't going to graduate. They told me, you're failing, and good for you, because of, look at your attendance, look at your work ethic.
You were a truant.
I was, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I would go to school at about noon for lunch, and I would eat, and then I would go either stay for the last class or go home. But a lot of times I would stay for the last class, and that was the class that gave me that 0.3 in my grade point average.
So you did end up graduating because they gave you an opportunity.
They gave me an opportunity. Well, they told me no, and I asked them, look, seriously, what do I need to do to graduate? I'll do it. Mm-hmm. And this was the first time I had to figure out that my drive means something. What I focus on means something. This is the first time I learned that. Mm. They had me at school at 7:15, which is 45 minutes before school started every day. They had me doing a book report every day, 1 page, seven a week. And I cleaned all the classrooms, chalkboards, textbooks, chairs, desks. I did all that stuff, and I got my cap and gown 1 hour before graduation, which I'll mention that when I was told I wouldn't graduate, my dad didn't want to buy the cap and gown. His question was, why? You're not going to graduate. Why should I buy it? So the principal called them, and they came to an agreement that he would order the cap and gown, and they would leave it sealed in the box at the vice principal's office, ready to be returned when I fail. So that was my cap and gown situation. So that cap and gown in the picture you see had just been pulled out of plastic, and
Before the
right.
ceremony.
So mine had the creases. They said hang it up 7 days prior so you get rid of the creases.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. So I didn't know the chant, the walk. I didn't know anything. I just joined them.
Nice. But you graduated.
Yes, I walked. I graduated with my class. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna fast forward you now. So in the flyer it says you were a dishwasher, but that's not exactly right. Your first job was with Kenny's, is that right?
My first restaurant
Okay.
job was with Spaghetti Factory.
Okay, got it.
My first job ever was at Gems.
Oh, that's
Speaking
right.
of not
dating ourselves.
Speaking of not dating ourselves, if you know Gems, you know the deal.
Yeah. Okay, so OSF, you're at the old spaghetti factory, and you were in the dish room. You were
It was a service dish position.
okay.
I unloaded the clean dishes, ran them out to the floor, bread and butter plates, silverware, these kind of things.
Hey, raise your hand in the reactions if you know if you've ever been in the industrial dish room. It's hot.
It's very hot, and the
hot.
dishes are at least 170 degrees coming out. They have to be. Right. Oh, Terry said she knows Gems.
Nice. Okay, so then we had Kenny's Burger House. You worked at Dollar. You were also playing around, kind of just doing what it was that you.
I just was trying to survive.
Right.
There was no path.
No path.
But I was always drawn to food. My whole life, I was always drawn to food. And I hung out in the kitchen at grandma's house. I was, it was in the back of my mind, it was always there. So I loved working in kitchens. When I was at Spaghetti Factory, I would look across the kitchen and I would say, wow, I want to do what that guy's doing. He was frying up sausages and saucing in plates and stuff. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're able to see the kitchen, and that was something that encouraged you. And then you moved on to Kenny's, where you were doing 36 burgers at a time.
48.
Sorry, 4 dozen, not 3.
4 dozen. I was working the griddle.
The griddle.
Right? So I would do breakfast and lunch, and that's when they have the 19-cent hamburgers.
Wow. Okay. So I wanted to ask you a question. A lot of students in the UH system, actually, they do a focus to career assessment, and they get this sort of little profile that shows their work values, interests, their personality, and their skills. So of these 4 areas, during this time, right out of high school, like you're figuring things out, you're working to live and living and just kind of doing your thing. You said it was the kitchen. So of these areas, what do you think it is that really drove your career decisions?
Basically, where would I have the most fun?
So right. Values.
So, right. So
interest.
I wanted to have fun, and of course I love to eat and cook. I didn't really get a chance to do much of that in my high school years at home. There was no real, hey, let's all cook and eat dinner together. But I wanted to do that, and I thought, man, if I can work in a kitchen, wow. It was always there for me, yeah.
Perfect. So interests, values sort of driving your career decisions at this point in time. Mm-hmm. So I have a picture here of Savannah, who we call Van. She came into your life, her and her mom, right? Mm-hmm. Got married, you had Van, and so you ended up in a roundabout way back in the dish room.
Right, because I was just doing odd jobs and just kind of doing whatever, having fun, and anyway, when she was born, not even 2 months after, 1 month after she was born, I said, man, I've really got to buckle down here. And I got into Angelo Pietro's Honolulu as a dishwasher, as the bottom person. um, $5 an hour or whatever it was, and that job changed pretty much everything for me career-wise, because that's where I really learned the value of work, the value of quality, the value of attitude, the value of drive, and what you want out of life. I've never had that before. And it was always whatever was sitting in front of me was either good or bad, and I'm going to trample it either way. Right?
Oh, wow. Okay. So let's talk about this. So I know you also tried out other jobs in different businesses, but in terms of a career ladder, I would say at Angelo Pietro's, or we call it Pietro's, that's kind of where you had your career like growth, right?
That was the first time that, that was the first time that I saw value in myself and the work I could do. This is the first time I ever felt that here. And it's like anything else. When you focus on something and then you see results, you see people reacting to your work, or you see like, oh yeah, I know when John works, the dish room is always clean, or whatever. I don't know if that's what they said. I don't get praised very much, but you feel value for yourself. And that was the first time I did, and it grew. I said, if I can do this, maybe I can cook. Maybe I can, because the dish room's next to the salad station. Maybe I can make a salad here and there. There's no cooking, there's no cutting. Maybe I could just make a salad. And that's where, with the drive and your attitude, they let you, okay, come in and make this tossed salad real quick, and then go back. And you do that more often than not. The salad guy quits. They're like, hey, you want to come in? Then they hire a dishwasher.
Right.
So that's kind of the.
I need you to come closer to me.
Hey. Come here often.
Okay. Yes, I do know this person. He is my husband, in case I haven't mentioned that before. Okay, so, but not at this time. We weren't married yet. So who's this little fellow in the bottom left corner with his Air Jordans?
That's my son, John Jr., and he is holding the rare bred Jordan 1s.
We're not going to go on a tangent with Nike right now and Air Jordan, but
those are the ones though. And if you know, you know.
He's a sneakerhead, and anyone else who is can contact him and discuss that later. But okay, so you were head waiter, right?
I was.
So you led training for your team, right? You came out, you did promotions, you had creative ideas to sell. And
I trained them on wine sales and opening bottles. And I used to win all those contests before I was head waiter.
Like sell this amount and then you win a contest.
Right.
Okay. Excellent. So then they tapped you to go to California.
Yeah, as a front house trainer. Yeah, I went up there to help open a restaurant, and it was a week-long thing, 10 days, I think.
You were supposed to go to Torrance for 10 days.
10 days.
And how old was your daughter at this point?
5.
Okay.
We went up there, and I had so much drive, and I had so much, hey, look at me, I can do it in me, that so everyone else came home, and I ended up staying up there for 14 months by myself.
Wow. Okay.
So they brought me on as a worker, they brought me on as a manager, and then as time progressed, the first 2 months of the thing, by the end of the first 3 months, I was the general manager running the whole restaurant.
Wow. And your family was there for a little while.
I brought them up there to live with me, but I was still working like 7 a.m. to like 2 a.m. And that was 7 days a week.
Okay.
And they were there at the house just sitting, really.
Right.
And I told them to come back to Hawaii. And when I'm ready, I'll send for you and you guys come up. When I can start getting some time off, when I can hire a manager, things like that.
So 14 months in from your 10-day assignment, you come back home. This is when you eventually have your son, John Jr., right?
Right. Maybe, gosh, a year and a half after I got home.
And then we're gonna fast forward
Mhm.
because in the end, this actually was the impetus. This was the end of your first marriage, right?
Yeah, the trip to California put a dynamic into the relationship that couldn't handle. So, and that goes to show, and for the students there, it goes to show that, you know, you put your focus on one thing, something else will suffer.
Your complete focus. Yeah.
Yeah, and every minute of your day, right?
Right, every minute. Okay. So now I'm just fast forwarding again. This 2 years later, you're in a different relationship for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
You decide
still at Pietro's.
You're still at Pietro's, but you decide you want to go now into culinary. You want to like focus on being
A pastry chef.
A pastry chef, right?
So there was actually a moment in time, a day and a moment. Now, I don't remember the day or the time that it happened. Well, it was dinner shift, but I went in. I used to go in the kitchen as a manager, and I used to plate up the desserts. I used to just go in there and say, "Well, what do you got? Oh yeah, I got them. And I would go in, and oh, this one gets chocolate sauce just drizzled over, squirt on top, and I would do designs on the plate and run a spoon through it, or I do different stuff with the caramel, and then and I'd plate it, and I'd send it out, and I would be so proud. And they would look at me like, "What are you doing? You're crazy." And I loved it. And one day I did that, and I got teased by Sean Yokotake. I said his whole name.
We will blur that out.
And I said, "Dude, I'm gonna be that's it. I'm gonna do pastry. I'm gonna do this kind of desserts every day for my career." And that, me saying that in a joking way, prompted me to go and apply for research schools, apply for the best. And from what I saw, it was Le Cordon Bleu. I love the French pastry aspect. I'm not saying they're the best culinary school, but at the time, my research, people I talked to, that was the route I wanted to go.
Okay. Okay, great. So tell us about this. You applied, but you said it was 3 months, a 3-month process?
Right, because I was out of state.
Oh.
And I don't know what their procedures were, but for me, they had a meeting with me every week, 1-hour meeting at a certain time. So for me, it was Wednesdays at 4 p.m. They would call me on the phone, and I would have to be ready to talk for an hour.
So they vetted you before you could become their student.
Right. So the dynamic was 3,500 applications a month and 80 seats.
Oh wow! Okay.
In the classes.
Got it.
So, I mean, you gotta look out for these kind of schools, and they're not open anymore in the United States. But
right.
Their job is to get people to come in, but they still have to choose you, right? So they want the best people so that they can say, "Hey, we had this person or that person at our school."
Right.
So they can sell more
seats. Got it.
Right. So
it's proprietary. It's very different from our program. We're not a proprietary school.
Right. Yeah. But it was one of the best things that I could have done.
So I'm going to share the screen again. And so what are we looking at here in this picture?
That's my younger son, Jordan. When he was born a couple weeks or maybe a month, maybe 2 months before this picture was taken. And we were sliding down a huge snow hill on a little sled. And you can see one of my hands is back holding the handle. Wait, or is that a cardboard? I hope it's not a cardboard.
I have no idea. I was not there.
I mean, I was wearing jeans and Timberlands. So, I was a Hawaii guy. I didn't have snow clothes. But he went down his first mountain
and he's had anxiety ever since.
You think it? Oh, don't blame that.
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know. So yes, so that was your youngest, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you get into this program. You're back in the classroom now.
Right.
So your first experience, you were barely in the classroom. So tell us a little bit more about what you did in the classroom in your Le Cordon Bleu.
Le Cordon Bleu, it was eye-opening for me. I went to a place where they didn't know me, for one, and I could be whoever I was setting out to be. As soon as I meet people, I'm not John the truant, the troublemaker, the guy that beat up that guy or the guy that got beat up. I'm not saying, but I'm saying I was whoever I was trying to be, and I was trying to be a pastry chef here. Looks like the picture with me and my lab partner, and that's a little wedding cake we did. And I think I'm holding DVDs that says, holding DVDs that had, she gave me that for Christmas or something like that.
Okay.
So I excelled.
Now you said something about the gender distribution in the pastry classes.
I was the only male in my pastry class, and I was taking applications and interviewing for whoever wanted to be my lab partner, and they had to
stop it. Applications? Oh my God. Okay.
Let's just say everyone wanted to be my lab partner.
Well.
I don't know. But I was the only guy, and I excelled in the class, and I had a lot of fun. It opened up a lot of doors for me with the Escoffier Society. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
What is pastry press?
Where does it say that? Pastry press. Well, I was the president of the Bacon and Pastry Club.
How did you get that?
I participated in a cookie competition, and I did a olive oil shortbread with black pepper and lemon thyme, and the flavor profile was nothing they had seen. It was really something special. I thought it was, and it was a drop cookie, so I finished in a third of the time, and the rest of the time I was helping other students with their cookies.
Oh wow!
As a competitor, and I ended up coming in second, a very close second to my friend Brittany, who she had gold on her cookie.
Okay, well.
And I helped her finish it.
Nice. Okay.
But anyway, yeah, and then after that, the current president who was graduating said, "Hey, I want you to apply for this. I want you to put your name in the thing."
Okay.
And I did.
And you got elected.
I got 100% of the votes.
99 probably.
100.
Okay. Even the person running against you.
We weren't voting.
Oh, you weren't voting?
I didn't get to vote. I didn't vote for myself.
I'll always vote for yourself. That's
in my defense, the person that was running just did it just like she must have been like a 70-year-old lady in my class.
Stop. Okay. So I wrote here a couple of the things that you participated in, and we're running a little close here on time, and I want to get to some very important events. So I'm going to flip through this, but you did get to work, like actually be employed at the Bellagio.
I was, yeah. They took one student, and I was the student. Yeah.
And then here you had Jordan with you, married. Okay. So now let's fast forward through these 2 years. You were there 2 years as a student? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did culinary and then pastry.
Culinary, and then you got your pastry. Okay. And so tell us about Les Amis d'Escoffier.
Les Amis d'Escoffier Society is a culinary fraternity based on Auguste Escoffier. He's pictured there. He is considered the godfather or the founder of the brigade system, why we all wear chef coats and tall hats, and why kitchens are separated into stations. He was one of the founders of the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, where they started that. The society is something where you don't get to apply for it. they have to ask you to be in it, and you need 3 senior members to co-sign to say,
Yeah.
yes, we want this guy in.
Mhm.
And they came to me, and I did have 3 co-signers: the chocolate teacher at Le Cordon Bleu, the president of Le Cordon Bleu Las Vegas, and the chairman of the Las Vegas branch of the Escoffier Society. They all.
That's all. So what I wanted to show though is the difference, such a big difference from high school.
Mhm.
And now you're like perfect GPA. I don't even have a perfect GPA. So you had perfect.
It was easy.
Okay.
Anyone could do that.
4.0. All right. That's okay.
There was 6 of us that did it. I was top 1%. Outstanding student, perfect GPA. Yep, summa cum laude. Top toke was the one that meant a lot. And in the picture, I'm holding a little thing. It looks like a watch. It's a little watch. And on the back of that watch, it says Top Toke 2008. And that meant that I was one of the top students. Oh, Chef Dan.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We don't say real names here.
Oh, Chef. Okay.
So, great. And so again, the contrast. So high school barely graduating, now 4.0. You said it was easy. I don't think it's easy to get a 4.0, regardless if you're in love with what you're doing. So what were the differences? What could you share with our students then?
I think it was a level of maturity. I mean, in high school, I was a knucklehead. In Le Cordon Bleu, I was still a knucklehead, but I was a 36-year-old knucklehead.
Yeah, we saw you going down on that sled.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I had a passion for what I was doing. So anything that could come my way, I embraced it. Anything. And I was willing to be the one that swept the floor at the end of the day. No one wanted to do that. I was willing to help others, and it was a competition to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was my focus, and it was a source of pride. And since I was in a new area, Nevada,
Mm-hmm.
I projected that person from the very start.
Mm-hmm.
So they couldn't say, you're just John from school.
Salt Lake.
You're the kid from Salt Lake that blah, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I was that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I made it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for the students in the room or watching this video, what advice would you say? I mean, you already kind of said it.
One thing I lacked in high school was a plan. And you can't expect others to come up with your plan. I didn't have the wherewithal to have a plan for myself. But a lot of people have their parents, have mentors, have people that care. And I do have a mentor. I did have a mentor, but he was a basketball mentor. He was
Right.
and I still am in contact with him, and I coached with him recently. So you have to have a plan. You have to give yourself the value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna pause our share because I really want to start fast forwarding here. I appreciate that. So we're gonna fast forward. You moved back to Oahu. You wanted to be with your kids.
My daughter was 12, and she was starting to be 12. My son was 6, asking, "Oh, wait a minute, where are you, Dad?" Look at him. I think he might be here. I'm not sure.
We're not sure. These are adorable pictures. I love them. So yep, daughter, son.
That's a chef hat.
That's a chef
I'm
hat
feeling
with
it.
Jordan. Okay, so you moved back home, but this was hard.
Yeah.
This wasn't easy. We had the 2009 recession.
Right.
You were at different places. You did some great things. You became a pastry sous chef for Sullivan.
That's a big job. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you did R&D, you got a matcha green tea cheesecake into 7-Eleven Hawaii. I mean,
Right. A no bake cheesecake. Yeah.
So there were things you were doing, but it sounds like not really a fit. You couldn't really find a fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
But I say that's right.
I didn't. I came back and it wasn't smooth. While I was at Sullivan as the pastry sous chef for the whole state, I got diagnosed with vertigo. The way I found that out was I got out of bed, and then the next thing I knew, I woke up on the ground with a concussion.
Oh.
And I was out for a month, and they let me go after I went back to work.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't, yeah, vertigo, yeah.
So now, in your marriage?
It fell apart when we moved home because I came home for the other kids from the other mom, right? So it fell apart, and it ended shortly after I got vertigo, actually.
Okay, so now I wanted to share a very personal post that you put on your Instagram. So you're willing to publicly share this.
This was my first post of 2022, January 1.
Can you just tell us a little bit? Or maybe just read this.
Okay, so the post says, "Aloha, my name is John, and I battle severe clinical depression every day. I was diagnosed in 1998, and it hasn't taken a day off in 24 years. In 2009, I tried to take my own life. In 2010, I met my soulmate, and in 2011, started Hau'oli Pastry Company. 2022, still I rise."
Nice.
Mental health awareness, guys. I wanted to own that. I wanted to own that because without that, I would not be here. Of course I would not be here, but I wouldn't be the person I am.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of advice too. You got to own who you are and know your weaknesses so you can work on them and control them instead of your weaknesses controlling you. That's a nice picture.
That is.
I remember that.
Love that picture. Okay, so you met your soulmate, huh? Wow, that's what I want to talk about. But this is your talk.
She was nice.
This is your talk. So you can you can share a little bit more. So we brought Kaimana into your life, and
he was 3.
Yes, so was Jordan, and you brought these 3.
Yep.
Into my life.
There they are.
Yes.
Oh, look at that picture.
Look, and then what is this? With your mentor coaching?
Right. And so my basketball mentor that coached me when I was a kid, I was coaching with him as an adult, as a varsity girls basketball coach at Radford.
Whew, that was some times. Okay, so then you had to get back in the kitchen. Your first job back was at CPK.
After the 2009 debacle.
Well, no, I mean, okay.
It made me.
You. So your pasta cook, that wasn't cool. That was really hard.
California Pizza Kitchen, pasta cook. If anyone knows California Pizza Kitchen, that's the worst, as we say, lickings I've ever got in the kitchen. It was constant and they didn't stop. I lost 50 pounds and one whole chef coat size.
Yes,
working
that's right.
there.
That's right. So love your cooks. Okay, so then you were able to apply and you got a position.
36
Russell Sue,
Russell
right?
Sue, 3660 on the rise. I was the pastry sous chef and worked directly with Chef Russell on the desserts. A lot of the recipes or the ideas for the desserts were his. A lot of the recipes, they had these standalone desserts that was years and years and years, like the Mile High ice cream cake. The lemon pudding, stuff like that.
And you were coming in with French pastry techniques, but they needed something that servers could pull out and.
I did the production in the morning, and they needed a pastry cook to be able to plate. So it was a dynamic where you needed ease of use.
Ease of use, yeah. And then you also were doing things for banquets and celebrations and all of that. So now that didn't really work out, but it was an amicable breakup, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't a very amicable breakup.
Yeah, I mean, he told me to in my station, leave the key. He called me the same day that I got let go, and I finished that day's desserts, cleaned the station, left the key.
That's right.
And he wrote me a letter of recommendation, a glowing letter, and sent me on my way.
And your way ended up being at Nobu. You worked with one of our alums, Chef Rachel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Rachel.
she's an alum of our program.
I forgot about that. Yeah, she was doing some amazing things with pastry at the time. And that was the highest end desserts I've ever made, and you could not hide at Nobu. You had to know what you were doing, and it was a great experience. I mean, to work at that, I made some celebrity dessert plates that it's amazing. They were great over there at Nobu for sure.
Yeah. And this was a time the kids were still young, as you can see here. So
Oh,
you
wow.
started your own company. We started with cupcakes out of a tiny little. Anyway, it was amazing.
We only could cook 12 cupcakes at a time.
Yeah, and here's one.
My mentor would strangle it.
If he heard maybe
12 cupcakes at a time.
It was amazing. And so I remember your Hello Kitty cake was like super popular.
Yeah, we did so many of those.
Yeah, super popular.
Mhm.
You did wedding cakes. It was really lots of cakes.
I see that. That's a nice one. I did a bunch of wedding cakes. People were taking advantage of my small business side, so
it was really tough. But this is where it began. Really,
Yeah.
This is where it began.
And I remember back to when I met my soulmate. I
Yes.
think one thing that she did was believe in me. That lady, she's solid.
She's solid. So in this bottom left picture, this is your brother and his kids, and your
That's all my nieces and
nephews.
Macy. That's Dalvin.
Yes, they're all there.
Yeah, wow. Look at Roger.
You kind of want to sucking his thumb.
Now look at Malia. Oh my God.
This is when your brother turned 40. So.
Wow, that's right.
Right. Okay. So then, fast forward from Nobu, you became you got hired at the Plaza Club. So let me tell a brief story, and then we're gonna get to some questions. So brief story. John is working at Nobu now. He's old compared to everybody there because it's a young person's job, right?
Yeah.
All the servers
young
are
and
young,
good looking.
young and good looking, and he's old and good looking.
Oh,
So he decides to go play basketball
with the bartenders.
And has a fall, okay, as you know, old school does, and lands on his arm and breaks 3 ribs. So he breaks 3 ribs. He has to go on leave, medical leave, basically, from the position.
It was about 6 weeks.
Meanwhile, Chef Rachel gets an amazing opportunity and moves on. And so you're returning to like a total corporate restructuring at the time.
Right, and they didn't even recognize me as an employee.
Correct. So there's again a lot of change. And so you ended up applying for this position. Now tell us, what is a stage, and tell us what you had to do for this position as the pastry chef.
Well, as the pastry chef, you can't just go in and put your application in and get hired. You have to actually do things. So I worked a whole 8-hour shift with the list I got from my chef, who's in that far right picture with me.
A production list?
Yes, make this. I need this, and show it to me at the end. And I had to work independently. I had to use my own recipes. I had to figure it out. So I did that. And at the end of the day, and mind you, I was still nursing broken ribs. I could barely move.
But he didn't know that.
I told him at the end.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But he offered me the job. And at that same day, I got offered the job. I don't know if you remember this, but I got offered the job as a pastry cook at Pacific Beach Hotel.
That's right.
That same day.
That same day.
So that morning,
higher salary, unionized.
Less. It was like I'm cutting pound cake into cubes for $8.
It was like what you did at the Bellagio.
Oh, Bellagio was.
Okay, but not with Chef Philippe. But okay.
So I took this job with less money and more creativity, and it was the best thing I could have ever done. It was the hardest job I've ever had, but to have an executive chef and food and beverage director like him, he pushed me, and my mentor now is kind of like that. I can't hide. There's nowhere to hide. But
from your chef?
Yeah. So he was He was my mentor back then. He lives in California now, and we talk all the time. But
Chef Randy.
Chef Randy,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna pause here because I want to share your website very quickly just to show some of the work that you did there, just for pastry fans all over. New share, pastry fans, and then we're gonna go to questions. So I really would love for you folks to ask questions. Here's some of the work.
These are metaphors.
Okay, hang on one second. Resume share. Folks see the metaphors? You should be able to share. Okay. Hopefully we're all looking at metaphors. Yep, go ahead. Tell us what we're looking at here.
Yeah, so these are metaphors or banquet desserts at the Plaza Club, because it was a professional lunch type of thing. So I had to do desserts every day, come up with recipes. Those are tartlets, strawberry lime, candied lime zest.
Yum.
Oh, prickly pear cake. Who would have thunk it? There it is. It's kind of, yeah.
I'm just gonna be
fresh
scrolling.
fruit. Yeah, that's great.
I'm just scrolling.
Gosh, I remember all this.
That looks delicious.
But the best part about it is I had to research and come up with my own recipes. Candied kumquats. Come on now. But yeah, so there was rice pudding. Yep, my famous red velvet. Oh, that's a chocolate torte.
So this is an example of
mousse cups.
He's doing all of this. This is for a probably like Easter or Mother's Day or.
This I believe was Easter. There's the red velvet and the rose petal. Oh, rice pudding, local style rice pudding, ganache.
Yeah.
Oh, churros. Oh, that Black Forest, mini Black Forest was awesome. But it demanded that I knew what I was doing. And that's what we're going to get into as far as the kids and the students now. If you sharpen your skill set and broaden your knowledge base, that's my two things. Mm-hmm. If you do that, you don't need a place to hide, because regardless of your upbringing or what you did in the past or who you thought you were or what people think you are, if you know what you're doing, no one can deny you anything. And that's what I learned through hard times and a lot of studying and a lot of trial and error. And I still do it today. And my mentor now, who keeps pushing me forward and forward. And sometimes I'm terrified. I'm like, dude, remember, I'm the kid from Salt Lake. I'm the guy that wait a minute. No, I'm not. I'm the owner, pastry chef. I'm a teacher. I'm a mentor. I'm a coach. It's amazing.